So you guys have no doubt seen all of the good reviews on why you should buy the LG OLED G1, and that's wonderful. But today I'll be telling you guys the 5 reasons why you shouldn't buy the LG OLED G1 to provide balance to a very unbalanced kind of narrative out there. This is done so that the ball is put in your court and you know exactly what you're buying before you buy it, because much like used cars, if you do find these problems out, it will likely be at a point where you're past your return period, or really you're in a position with limited options. So to prevent all that from happening, I'm just going to square you away with all the information you need to know, and ultimately again giving you the power to decide for yourself if these deal breakers are truly worth your time. Now, if you like that kind of thing, please subscribe and join this journey and help us fight for integrity and honesty here on YouTube. That's what Quantum TV does best. With all that being said, we're going to be getting to the point right now. So the first thing that we need to talk about is the fact that they're overpriced for what they are. This is a depreciating asset. Let's be very honest with ourselves about that. Next year, they're going to find something else you need and have to have in your life, and regardless on how they word things this year, you're going to basically be rendered with a valueless object next year. So you need to make sure when that's the case that they're giving you everything under the sun. And honestly, for what they're offering this year, it's really not that much. Now, the next reason is because, you know what? Let's just be real and call this what it is. It's not a true evolution or Evo as they claim, because TVs like the 2018 LG C8 were just as bright as this TV that's claimed to be this next step that OLED has never reached with LG before. That makes it a gimmick, and honestly speaking, when that's the case, you're basically getting screwed over royally. Now let's move on to the third reason, and that's simply put, the LG C1 gets you most of the picture quality that the G1 is touting around, and I think this is something that's going to make a lot of people who buy the G1 very uncomfortable to realize, but the fact is they are extremely similar, give or take a few nuanced differences that aren't that big. And that's honestly one of the things that I think will be one of the biggest deal breakers for a lot of people. That, and reason 4. There is no stand, so you have to pay an extra $100 to get something that literally every other TV manufacturer provides. Like, this is such a basic thing, but they're trying to be like Apple and charge $100 extra for something that you don't really need to pay $100 extra for, because it's supposed to come standard. Now, if you want to wall mount your TV, great, you should have that option. But to make it an only wall mountable TV is stupid, and it definitely destroys any chance of anyone else with money looking to buy this TV that just don't have the ability to wall mount it, right? Now you have to what? Step down into their C1 series? Maybe you didn't want to do that. Well, you have no choice, because unless you're willing to pay an extra $100, you're kind of screwed here. And this is nasty, man. This is basically like what Apple does with the chargers in the box nowadays, where they just don't even give you one. And what next? $50 for another remote? It's a petty thing that kind of adds up. Like, once they see they can get away with one thing, they start trying to do other things. So it's a gateway thing, and I think maybe this is one of the smaller reasons for some people, but it's huge to me, and it's definitely worth noting. Now, let's talk about the fact that there also is nothing extra that you're getting for the premium price point. The cheaper models will have the same thing. You literally aren't getting anything extra over those cheaper models in the widest sense of the stroke of this brush here. Now, yeah, sure, they claim it's Evo, but we just talked about the fact that the C8 from 2018 was at that same level. So you can't even say brightness at this point, because if you found a used C8 on the market, you would have everything Evo is talking about from a brightness perspective. But now also it's important to note that you're missing Hdr Effect. That was ripped out. You are getting the same UI, you're getting the same picture AI processing, the same kind of remote. I mean, really, of the lower tier TVs, they aren't sweetening the deal at all. And for this premium, they really should, and that's something that should be taken into consideration. And those are basically the 5 reasons why you shouldn't buy one. Now here are some bonus reasons. There's a purple/pink tint to the screen that you may or may not notice. Some people have it worse than others. I imagine it's up to the panel lottery, but this is due to the anti-reflective coating that they put on the screen, which, by the way, doesn't really do anything, because for the most part it's pretty much a glossy screen no matter what you do, and you're going to be seeing reflections. So I think either way you look at it, it's something that a lot of people have talked about as a problem on LG, which makes calibration and accurate colors really difficult, because sometimes when you're on white screens they notice it, and sometimes I notice it in actual content. So it's something that some notice, some might not notice, and it's one of those things like you may or may not be on the receiving end of this, and I think that that's something that you might want to weigh up as well. And also, there's something else that you should know that just might be a deal breaker with this. Out of all the things that I've said, is a simple fact that they're not really innovating anymore. This is essentially a GX, the G10 model, literally rewrapped and resold to you again. And if you are in the market for something that's very similar, save the money and maybe go with a G10 if you only want a TV to put on your wall and look pretty, because you're going to get most of the picture of the G10 as well. So I think at the end of the day, you know, when you're missing features and you're not getting the premium feel to things, and they're cutting corners and they're claiming something's Evo even though it's just as bright as an older TV from 2018, I feel like this whole thing is just a gimmicky TV to kind of get people who have not been following what LG has been doing and are unaware of what is currently on the used market right now. So I don't know, maybe try to find yourself one of those nice deals on a G10 from last year, or a C10 from last year, or even buy a C1. All of those are better alternatives to buying the LG OLED G1, and I think that's as real as anyone's going to tell you. So hopefully this helped you guys out and kind of provided a little bit more of a more balanced picture to things. And that concludes the 5 reasons why you shouldn't buy the LG OLED G1. If you'd like to smack a like on this video, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Until the next video, I'll see you guys later.